let's move on to Newcastle versus Man United. Man United are in the same area as Spurs, not in terms of crisis, but in terms of pursuing top four. They seem to have situations under control, more under control. Newcastle are trying to break into top four, but they will need to deal with Man United and Spurs. Yeah, thoughts on this? The two teams met a few weekends ago in the League Cup final. Man United won 2-0. Newcastle won their pound of flesh in this encounter.
And the thing with this game is that it marked one of the games that Ten Hag risked a lot, but he ended up on the winning side. So a lot of people kind of glossed over it because he played a guy who is not so sound defensively in that game.
Yeah.
He matched Diogo Dalot. He matched Diogo Dalot against Alan Saint-Maximin. And he got away with it because at the end of the day, Man United won. They kept a clean sheet. And pretty much Saint-Maximin didn't threaten them too much. Then they went and did the same against Barcelona. They didn't get punished enough. They qualified. Then he did it against Liverpool. Then the wheels just fell off completely, and they got hammered. So in this game, Maxima isn't playing. I honestly believe that he will trust a guy like Aaron Wan-Bissaka to start this game because, one, he's fresh. He didn't play any international games. Diogo Dalot was with Portugal. And so I honestly believe Newcastle, looking at the kind of confidence that Alexander Isak has, I think they will need Man United will need a little bit more of a defensive presence on either wing to be able to just contain the Newcastle front line and have the guys be able to score on the other end.
Okay.
Man United will need, exactly. They need a lot of defensive cover, guys, to give them that little bit of stability because Casemiro is not around, Eriksen is not around. And in McTominay and Fred, yes, they are in kind of good form, looking at what McTominay did in international duty. But the point is, and there's Sabitzer too, but the point is you don't have any game manager amongst those two. And you don't have any kind of a pace dictator, a pace setter, pacemaker in that middle. And so in those chaotic moments, you need as much defensive cover as possible to help out, to clean out those transition moments where there's a lot of chaos and a lot of defensive breakdowns might happen.
Susu, your thoughts?
It's really a difficult game for Manchester United because of their absence of Casemiro, like Yao has highlighted. Because if you look at their midfield, when Newcastle have their midfield of Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton and Joe Willock or Sean Longstaff or whoever is with the two Brazilians, it's a very good midfield, very difficult to break down, very energetic. And Sabitzer, I believe, has good defensive numbers, but he's not that anchorman in the mode of Casemiro. He's not there. So it's going to be a very difficult midfield battle, and Newcastle will be fired up because of the cup final defeat to kind of prove themselves. And like Yao said, Isak had a good game for the international break. He scored 2 goals against, was it Nottingham Forest? And could have had an assist as well. So, but the goal was disallowed. So he is playing very well. So when you look at all these things, Newcastle are a very dangerous team, and their defense is so solid. We've been speaking about how good their defense has been all season. They've had a slight dip in form in terms of their defending, but they are still so good. So it's going to be a tough game for Man U, and especially away from home.
And in the middle, too, Man United run the risk of playing guys who don't match up physically.
Okay.
So you have Sabitzer, Fred as your likely starters. Coming up against Joe Linton, Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Willock, those
or Sean Longstaff.
So Sabitzer and Fred, they are kind of on the downside physically. So you might end up losing out or missing out on the physical battle. So that's where you need to rely or count on Scott McTominay to replicate the kind of form he showed in international duties in this particular game, because otherwise they can easily get run over in the middle physically. Okay,
all right. Sounds like fun. Sounds like it should be good. Newcastle versus Manchester United. Newcastle, I think the last 2 meetings, they won 1 and lost 1. I remember they beat Man United 1-0, and then the season after, Man United won that game by 4-1, I believe, in that encounter. So it should be exciting at St. James's Park. That game is on Sunday afternoon. That's when Newcastle take on Manchester United in the Premier League, and we'll be live on Citi 97.3 FM.